All right. Good morning, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, which may be a lot, my name is Muchatuta. Muchatuta. Okay. Very phonetic. Don't freak out when you see it on the board. Anyway, I'm a former downstate medical student, clinical master, class of 2017. And today I'm going to share a few things that I've learned that I had to learn quickly in attending life, and hoping you pick up a few things from my experiences and be better prepared when it's your turn. All right, so I'm not going to keep you very long. This is going to be very quick, golden nuggets, I think. I'm going to share 3 phrases that I use to keep me on track of my attending life, none of which have anything to do with the practice of medicine. Maybe I really should have called this talk the art of navigating everything else that makes most of attending life, but it wouldn't have caught your interest. So hopefully something I say today resonates with someone so you can start your attending life with maybe a few less surprises than I did. Right, so let's jump right in there. So graduation is soon upon us. I remember that feeling of that last few months of residency. I didn't even have a pandemic. I went to ASEP in October of my 4th year, so I know you guys are really ready. I was ready to become an attending. I knew everything I thought I needed to know about medicine. I felt like I was thriving in residency. So what else really was there to learn? Oops. Residency is not reality, guys. And the first reality I'm here to remind you is a small piece of advice that Bonnie Barron gave me on my last CCT shift 4 years ago. There's a difference between knowing medicine and knowing how to take good care of people. I'm just going to leave this here with you to ruminate on for the rest of your career. Now, welcome to reality, I suppose. This is the 3G version of residency with all kinds of new surprises, mostly pleasant, and sometimes otherwise, but you have to figure it all out. In medicine speak, welcome to attending life, right? And just like that, depending on your setting, that is are you in an academic center? Are you in a community center? Are you working locums? There's a whole new list of things you have to think about, schedule, and manage. And there's no Stephanie Lane anymore to schedule all these things for you. So things like, I must provide excellent care with a smiling face, even though it's packed as hot in here, and short-staffed, in an expedient manner, preferably 15 minutes per patient. And just so the patient doesn't complain. How do I get promoted? Where is there a list somewhere where I need to follow all this information? I must respond to patient complaints from patient relations. I must fix my testing scores, must remediate a medical student, respond to emails, email back to medical student, email back to resident, must sign that EKG that the EKG tech almost always needs to for, must answer the phone, respond to lots of emails, fill out evaluation. So many things to respond to. Come to the faculty meeting, teach something, read something, do some CME, get some faculty development in there, do some adulting, take care of your family, take care of your friends, organize your life, and also take some time to reflect about whether you actually really like the job that you're doing. Do you like where you are? Are you stuck? Those of you that know me know that this is something that happened to me. So I'm really sharing some of my. But also don't remember to sign all your charts within 72 hours. You'll get an email about that. Anyway, so many questions, like I said. Where will you ever get all the time to do all of these things? Everybody wants a piece of you when you're an attending. Have you ever noticed every time you try to present an attending, they stop you because 10,000 other things are going on? That's reality, guys. I know, my purpose is not to scare you, but rather just for you to think about it and just prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, and physically for it. That's a lot, but don't worry, you will figure it out eventually. But for now, here are a few tips that seem common sensey, but really help me get a grip of my life. I'm still trying, but This is kind of my process. So one, start using a calendar and a planner. I mean, I save literally everything in a calendar. My brain is clogged. I set reminders for everything. Every single meeting I go to, I have a 1 week reminder, a 1 hour reminder, a 30-minute reminder, and a 15-minute reminder. This seems extra, but if I don't do it, I'll forget. Like within the 30 minutes that I know I need to jump on a call, something will happen and I'll literally forget. The next thing, you need to set boundaries and expectations with everyone in your home and your work life to decrease your attending life stress. Learning to say no is a really hard thing, but you really can say no to a lot of things. You don't have to say yes to everything, and people don't think you're, not carrying your weight if you say no. You just can't do everything well. You can probably do everything terribly, but you just can't do everything well. If that's important to you, you should say no to something. Some other helpful phrases that I've trained myself to use include, give me a few minutes, that I think a lot of residents are familiar with. Get ready to present because you're ready, but I'm halfway through a note or, the attending is having a conversation until you give me a minute. Use it, it works. Just try to make sure it's really a minute. Please, tell the EKG check. Can you find out who the patient is before you just hand me an EKG? It's helpful to know, right? Because then I don't have to scroll through the chart. It's literally boundaries. There's some text that will not hand anybody an EKG until they've checked, and that's helpful for you, for your level of stress. I'm at work. Don't call me unless it's an emergency. Sometimes you have to tell your family that. They might just call to say hi. Sometimes it's just not okay. You don't need the phone ringing when you don't really have the time to. If I don't get back to you in 2 days, please remind me again. I know a lot of residents that I work with in global health have heard this from me. We'll have a conversation at work, and I'll say, if you don't hear back from me in 2 days, please send me an email. People are really, really, really polite, and they will politely let you miss a target. We all need help, and so if I tell you, please remind me, because I'll definitely forget. Ask for help. So if you don't know something, ask. I mean, we know we talk about this all the time in residency, right? Ask for help. Ask a question, because trust me, the 8-hour orientation you're going to get when you sign up for your job is not going to prepare you for everything that you need to do in attending life. So ask questions, send emails, call your boss. If they're as cool as our bosses, they'll respond to you. Because I didn't know it doesn't really work as an excuse past intern year. Okay? Lastly, you are allowed to change your mind. Assuming you spend some time reflecting on exactly what's going on. This one's a doozy for us. We're doctors, right? And we don't really think about once you're in this thing, you have to stick it out. In residency, things are set in stone, but this is real life now. You're allowed to change your mind. Whatever it is you've got yourself into, a project, a committee, the job itself, you aren't trapped. If your happiness is in jeopardy, change the situation and just give the required dedicated notice, assuming you read your contract. So read your contract, obviously. So what's next? You're an attending now. Doesn't mean patients, nurses, and staff automatically trust you. Just think about how many times as a resident someone said to you, you look too young to be a doctor. In attending life, every time a patient asks to speak to the person in charge and you roll up, they're still going to say that to you. You look too young to be in charge. Get used to it. It does not change. But the lesson here is trust is earned, right? You will have emotional situations with other experienced staff members, nurses, techs, other doctors that challenge you. Medically, they'll challenge you. Clinically, they'll challenge you. Or even just socially, they will challenge you. But we here all know you graduated from the best place in the country, right? So you think you got this. But they don't know that. So trust me, they don't trust you. So they will challenge you with statements like, why aren't you putting in the airway? How come we haven't intubated yet? Dr. So-and-so would have done this. Why haven't we done it yet? I haven't sedated a patient with an asthma patient. Why are you starting a ketamine drip? All things that you clinically know are sound. The things you've made a clinical judgment about this, but they will challenge you. We usually don't use that medication, doc. Can we use something else? This is going to be pretty common. You know, when you work at a place during residency, there's certain medications that we all use, we're pretty comfortable with, our nurses are comfortable with. But go to a new place and they have things that they're comfortable with there too, that you're not going to know and they don't know you. And whatever new thing that you're trying to do, they will challenge. But how do you gain their trust? Well, not even gain, how do you earn their trust? First tip is listen. Sounds really corny, I know. But letting your team members speak up about doubts is a positive thing. Don't let people's doubts feel personal, because it's not. Listening to your team members makes them feel like their opinions are valued, and then they value you one brick at a time towards earning that trust, right? And really, at the end of the day, they're here for the patient. The next step, be patient. You just got there. The staff doesn't know you. They don't trust you. Earning trust is like a human process, and it takes time. Take good care of patients, like I said from Bonnie Barron earlier, right? Take good care of patients. Everybody's watching. The nurses are watching. The patients are watching. Mother time will do the rest. If you take good care of patients, they will trust you because they know that you're going to take care of the patients. Be kind. I'll tell you a story. So it had to be about maybe 6 months into my first job on the other coast. And I just walked an intern through a central line, her first central line actually. And like I said, everybody wants a piece of you. So I was standing in the room hovering, brand new attending, hovering over the intern. And my phone rang, so I had to answer. It was not my personal phone, portable phone that I have. That's far. I answered the phone, and it had a critical result. I didn't leave the room. I turned around for a second, responded, put the phone down, and I turned around and I realized I didn't see the guide wire. So I asked her, where's the guide wire? She's like, oh, I took it out very nonchalantly. I'm like, okay, where is it? I don't see it on the bed. So now I'm like looking through everything, and she's suturing the line. She's flushed it and she's suturing the line. And my heart is in my stomach, and I'm like, okay, she's like, stop. I'm 95% sure that I took the guide wire out. I think the nurse took everything out. So I'm like, 95. What about the other 5%, right? So I walk to the trash can, and I'm like now manically digging through the trash. And one of the nurses walks up to me and whispers and says, hey, doc, I'm just telling you this because I like you. I didn't see the guide wire. So now I'm freaking out because I have to call CT surgery. Where's this guide wire? Anyway, the moral of that particular story is you will literally be saved by people that like you. I know it's stupid, you know the medicine, and you think things should happen because you know medicine. But literally the only reason this nurse confirmed that the 5% is likely the 100% in this particular scenario was because they like me. And they told me, I don't want you to get in trouble, so I want you to stick it out. Anyway, ask me later what happened to the guide wire. I have a very interesting picture about it. But, you know, like Dr. G always says, be nice, right? It seems really corny, but you never know who will save your butt. No one gets an auto download of all things emergency medicine on your first day of attending type. So just be nice. Nobody wants to deal with your condescending IND attending attitude, right? So, money does make the world go round. The last one and the most dreaded one, because a lot of us are really not good at this. And I, for one, definitely am not. Almost everything in medicine is about the money, right? It sounds corny. I'm just not your money, really. Everybody else is really concerned with how much everything costs in medicine. All the major parties care about how much everything costs. The patient wants to get the best care, the most amount of time with the doctor for the least cost, right? The hospital wants to provide the best care to all of its patients at the least amount of cost. And then the insurance company just wants to not pay anything, really. Okay, let's just say, they want to pay out the least amount of money. And then there's the doctor, AKA me. I want to provide the best care for the least amount of time and make the most amount of money possible. That's every person's goal. But my lifestyle needs the clearly of all of the system, right? Because me making more money is taking away money from the system. So that's really not going to work. So how do you traverse this? How do you move on from this. So I imagined I'll come out of residency after being broke for so long, and and I'll just have random stacks of money laying around my house and never have to think again about how much anything costs because I just had so much of it in the bank. I never really had a lot of money before residency in med school. It's been a while, right? And so I imagined that the amount of money I'd earn if I wanted to show up to my shift and something like this, I could. But this is actually the reality. It kicked in. My reality is more in the realm of a reliable car that I like without breaking the bank, and a modest one-bedroom apartment in Crown Heights. That is a come up. And I really pay my bills without having to think about it. So that's a come up for now. You'll figure it out eventually and maybe get wealthy later. So sounds like very doomsday. Why am I doing all of this? Pro tip though, don't fret. You guys look smart and probably weren't thinking or aren't thinking the way that I was back in getting rich. But either way, let me show you some of my pitfalls or things that I picked up that I think will be helpful for you. So just remember, you're not going to be balling. Your first paycheck, the one you thought was going to be $1 trillion when it first hit your bank account was already spent. That first paycheck takes a really long time to come, in case you didn't know. And between boards, moving, graduation, celebration, interviews, everything, all of that money is spent. And also that $250K starting sounded like a lot of money when you signed that contract. But the net amount that goes into your bank, my friend, is supposed you. Handle your financial business, whatever that means to you. So I was never savvy with finances, investments, tax breaks, retirement, I don't know, all these stocks and bonds that people talk about. I needed help to figure this new pseudo dollar high tax attending life out. I needed to figure it out. I needed to find someone that I trusted to help me navigate all the things that I kept hearing about compensation, disability insurance, life insurance, term insurance, home insurance. There are so many different things that I didn't know what it all was. There were varying opinions on how to handle all of that. I needed to get a financial advisor to help guide me through that because I didn't even know where to start, what questions to ask. And I did that when I was in residency, actually. So it's been working for me well. It's been working pretty well for me so far. This one is another juicy, live below your means. One of the most harped on tips in the white coat investor. I really wish I read it. I didn't. I had problems with that though. Medicine always seems to have this annoying delayed gratification. And I myself am one of those live your life now people. And so spending time with my financial advisor, we came up with a plan that worked for me, where I could live somewhere in between all about the Benjamin lifestyle and frugal lifestyle, and still feel like I was living a financially responsible life, but not really limiting myself, at least paying myself back for the amount of time I put into this. So another cool tip that I didn't know, and nobody will ever tell you unless you ask, is keep your eyes open for all those grants, those scholarships, and ask colleagues about what they did. Because trust me, people are always willing to share, but finance is a really awkward conversation to bring up to somebody because, well, why are you telling me? Do I look broke? Why? So just ask questions and people will tell you. This by no means is an exhaustive list. I wish I knew a lot of these things before. I'm a work in progress, just like anybody else. And really, this lecture should have been called Lessons Learned in the 10th Life, because I don't know that anybody's figured it out. We're all figuring it out, like I said. Some people look like they have it under control, and others look like they don't have it under control. You never really know who does. Take your time and figure it out, specific for your own situation. Don't be too hard on yourself, though. Nobody really has all the answers. So if you remember nothing else from this talk, just remember residency is not reality. Reality is 3D of residency, okay? Trust is earned, and you can earn it. You're smart, you guys are well trained. You just have to let people get comfortable with you. Sort out your finances early Whatever that means to you, get a financial advisor, read the books, talk to people, talk to family members. I just didn't have people in my life that had a lot of money, so I had to find somebody. But just know what your situation is and figure it out early, even while you're in residency. It's never too early to do that. And that's it. Thank you. My references are my life. Here, there, interwebs, everywhere, anywhere, nowhere in particular. I've read a lot of blogs, talked to a lot of people, Google searched a lot of stuff, and went to a lot of conferences through residency. A lot of the talks I really couldn't pinpoint where I think most of them came from. But thank you for having me.
So, any questions, comments?
Oh, is that supposed to be checking the Zoom?
That's okay, I already got it. Adrian asked, what if you're already bald? But Adrian asked, what if you're already balling? But that's fine.
Well, then you don't have any problems.
I thought that was great. Thank you for the advice, especially the trust part.
Yeah, it's really important. You know, you really feel like, oh yeah, I got my degree. It's a big deal, right? To have this big party. And you know, you show up at your first job, you're nervous, but you're like, I got this, I know the medicine, I was trained, and we did a 4-year residency on top of that, right? This is how we sold it to ourselves. Like, I'm gonna be badass doctor when I'm done. And then you get there and they don't trust you because they don't know you, you know. So they're human, and you just have to bide your time. Just take good care of patients, like Bonnie said, and then everything will follow. All right, thanks.
Thank you.